stuff
Yep.
works. So just quick intro. I think I did a few that I didn't record or didn't work, but I think this
Right.
is going to be like part 12 session or something like that. And we're going to go over anything that you have a problem with. Any,
Right.
ideally, it's your time, ask whatever, but in my
Right.
opinion, it's if you want to focus on one or two things that you have the most problem with, and then if I could see some of the charts that I will look through myself on the other screen, and I'll
Okay.
go over, see if I can see some sort of a pattern behavior, because we've all been there, and having helped quite a few people, I could kind of see like if there's any commonalities. So,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so I've noticed, so, I'm kind of experimenting and trying things, but mainly my biggest losses have just been when I'm just going in a position like with no plan and like just trying to scalp it based off seeing a green candle. And I'm getting screwed there. But then I found that when I'm playing, like dead cat bounce setups and stuff like that, like shorting its major resistance and stuff, I'm seeing a much higher win rate. But I kind of lack the conviction and like the understanding of when to really short, and I also lack like the psychology behind like shorting and all the people that are bagged long and all that stuff. Um, so I think one of the main things, if you could help me out, is kind
mhm.
of just like maybe going through a chart, whether it be your chart or just a chart of a ticker, and then going over like a short, why it was a good short, and maybe like the psychology behind it.
Okay, 100%. First off, good job on having a very uh, specific issue,
Thank you, thank you.
um, and 100%. We'll go over it. So I see you have some charts here. I'm looking at the right of my screen. Uh, which one
Okay.
is your preference that you want to go over? Or I told you if
Um,
you have anything that went bad. No,
I
let's
mean, so,
go ahead. Which ticker do you want me to go over that went over recently?
so I played. I actually do remember. Uh, Workhorse screwed me and Carve screwed me. I
Okay.
was shorting. I was confident I think it was either a Carve long or a Carve short. I don't have the chart on me right now, which is not helpful.
If you got screwed, it was
But
probably a long because it faded all day. It
uh,
went from $17 to like
yeah, I
$7.
think yeah, yeah. I was confident. Like I don't remember, so I don't want to go over that one. But maybe if we can go over, I mean, like Workhorses was like a really crazy ticker.
It was,
Um,
and so I'm
yeah,
gonna ask you quick questions. How long have you been trading for, and are you? By
yeah,
the way, this is just like you can be as open as you want. Like we talked
right,
about
right.
before the thing. So just the point of this is to help you, nothing else.
Yep, yep, yep.
So
So
how long have you
I've
been trading
been,
for, and
I've
are
been,
you consistent or not consistent, losing money? Don't be afraid to
yep.
spill the beans.
So I've been trading options for a few years. I've been very consistent with that and making pretty good money. I got into small caps, I'd say like 4 weeks ago ish. Um, I started exploring it a few months ago, but I really started getting into it, 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I had so I started with a $30,000 account on Centerpoint, funded from, options and stuff like that. And I brought it, I took it down to like 26,000 from just a stupid loss going in with stupid size that I never should have done. And then, I brought it, but now it's at around 28,000. Um,
How are you doing?
so
How are you doing with the option world? How long have you, 2, 3 years, were you consistently profitable? Where is it a loss?
Well, it's a pretty steep learning curve. In the beginning, I was losing. I wasn't losing like a huge amount of money, but I was just losing and losing because I was buying options. And so, and I started maker using a favor and doing really well with that kind of shorting volatility. and stuff, so I actually made, this doesn't happen every day at all, but I made $8,000 on Thursday, shorting volatility on a ticker, which was pretty good.
Forget the one-time aspect. So you've been trading options for 2 years. Are you consistently profitable in that or no? Be honest and
Yes,
be genuine. You are.
yes,
Are you
yes.
in big cap short selling?
Say that again.
Are you a big cap short seller? Like you sell premiums on big caps, or you long? Or like what's your plays from the option on that?
So I generally short volatility. Like I sell strangles and straddles, mostly strangles before earnings, and then I buy them back after earnings. I
Okay.
also I also short volatility on high IV rank tickers, and just kind of trade like using the Tastyworks approach.
When you say high volatility, you're shorting. Are you talking like you're shorting UVXY or something else?
No, no, no. Like there's certain ticker, certain underlyings that just have a high IV rank naturally, higher than historically. So I'll open up a short volatility position. When I say short volatility, I'm not literally shorting volatility, but I'm putting on like a short strangle or short straddle. I'm shorting the Greek Vega, betting that it'll collapse, and theta will work for me, um, gamma will work for me. So, basically shorting volatility using options. So I'm not like shorting VIX.
Okay. So here's a thought process that would be an easy transition. I'm going to quickly go over. You're basically asking what's working. Talking about your question was about confidence, but I'm going to quickly chime in something. So without going off topic, because we're a bit limited, uh, consider some of the option plays on the small caps. Sometimes there are names that have options, names that like really super gap up. So don't force a trade, but in a
Right,
very small amount of times, because you always got to do with what you're good at, right? It's
right,
always good to expand your horizons
right.
and do something you're not familiar. And we will go over setups, why they work, why they haven't worked, um, and maybe some give key pointers. But I just wanted to get a grasp of how you're doing and if you are good at shorting volatility. Because I do the same thing. So you basically sell premiums, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I bought an option, to be
Have you
honest.
do you do naked short calling or is it always
So I do naked short puts. I'm very careful. I'll do a naked short call if I'm like scalping, but I'm very careful just selling naked calls because,
yeah, because it can blow in your face. Because that's what I was gonna say.
exactly.
It can blow
Right.
in your face. Yeah.
Like workhorse.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got to be super duper protective with that.
Right.
So one thing is, keep in mind if it's name within 1 day, if it's up by 300%, you could you're familiar with the option realm, get in the option realm. So now we're gonna go over some of the names that you said. Why do they work? Why do they not work? And something about confidence. So about the confidence and the reason why you don't have it, it's very kind of simple, and I'm sure you already know this. Um, it's your lack of the lack of data tracking, the lack of you can call it experience,
Right.
but a bit of data tracking shortcut. I'm a horrible data tracker. For
Right.
me, it's about experience. So you said what works, what doesn't work. Like BYFC. You want to go over that one? I'm looking at your
Yeah,
chart.
sure.
Okay. BYFC, it seems like 345. You shorted. I have no
I think it was
idea.
three. It was 315.
Oh, 315.
Uh,
So I'm trying to see what date that was.
yeah. So this was shoot.
12
This
1.
was like a few days ago. Hold on, I can.
No, no, I see it. I see it. I see it. Okay.
Okay.
So why is that
Yes.
working? Jeez.
So I noticed that there was a 315 was a resistance level. Um, the price action was below that line, so it was acting as a resistance. Um, and I noticed that it bounced off it a few times. So I entered a short position, um, and I got lucky. how it just the rug just got pulled. I don't know why it got pulled, but like
Okay.
the rug just kind of got pulled there. As you
I'll
go ahead.
explain. I'll explain some of the stuff. So this is maybe a bit delayed. So this is I'm gonna send you the chart I'm showing on my screen. I'll send you this same thing here. Um, so this is the daily chart. Okay. So why it worked. So going back to confidence, you need to, if you're taking notes or anything, mental notes, whatever, or written notes, um,
Right.
your confidence will come in small cap from doing the same thing over and over again and fully understanding it. Or if you
Mhm.
don't want to go through the trial and error, track data. So
Right.
you don't have confidence because of that. And
Yeah.
so, but if you track something that works, um, and let it be one setup. Don't be. I'm sure you have reflected on this that the reason why you're good at selling options, selling like you're doing good in options is because you're focused on one or two things.
Yes.
If you were to go back and I would be like, this is setup, you'd be like, fuck yeah, I know that setup. Like you,
Right.
there's a play in there in the option, whether it's you're tracking data from statistics, earning, post earnings, you're like, this never goes above. The past 12 times has never gone above this much range. Like you have confidence in that play, right?
Oh yeah, that's literally exactly what I do.
Yeah. So you have a lot of confidence in that one play, and even if I were to come and talk a lot of shit about this, while this may happen, and oh, this sector is moving or this has changed, blah blah blah, you will listen, but you still probably know that yo, this is gonna freaking work because you've done it a lot, right?
Yes.
So you got to be in the same realm for small caps. You got to know with what you play. You can't just short because you feel like shorting,
Right.
and it's a different beast. So this one, your question was you want to go over why things worked. So you see that uh, big what's this? It's called volume profile, point of control.
Right.
Do you know what that is?
I'm familiar with volume. I don't know like that. If you just said no.
Okay, look at the. You see the screenshot I sent you in your inbox?
Yep. Yep. I'm looking at it.
Okay, that there's a red line. That red line is an indication that there's a lot of volume there. The
Uh,
average volume it is at 319. It includes all the volume from other days, right?
right.
So that is why one of the reasons why resistance was theirs. Is this a play that I play? Not necessarily. Um, so that play is there, like when it goes above 314, and
Right.
so look at this. I'll show you another really good example. So the day before you shorted it, at the morning, it opened up at 3:30, right? I'll
Okay.
show you something on how this worked. This is not one of my plays, but I know it's a play for quite a few people, and it's a good play
Right.
too. If you don't know fundamental, this is a really good play. So I'll draw this. I'll send this to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna draw a bunch of lines for you, okay?
Right.
And then look at this spike here, and then look at this here, something like that. Okay. So this is a 1 hour chart, bro.
Yep.
This is shorting into resistance. This is really really good if you don't have stick with one thing, okay? So when you get into
Mm.
the small cap, learn one thing, learn the living shit out of it. Learn all the
Yep.
variables, how much relative volume need, what time AM does, how what the range would be, how much blah 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 blah. So look at this. The date this is a 1 hour chart. It opened up and it rejected right off there, right? The high there was 335 and it went down $2. That's a dollar,
Yep.
like $1.35. That's like 50% something gain. I don't know. My
Yep.
brain's not working properly, but it's probably like 40% something, right?
Right.
So look at what the low of the last time it was. Like that those are the wicks after hour, but like imagine this is a volume area, right? Do you see that?
The 340 level, right?
Uh, yeah, 330, 340 level. You see how
Right.
that's where everybody there was bagged, and if it got there, bagged, what it means is like, so a lot of people were underwater, and if it got to that, and the volume wasn't bigger than the other day, like there's a volume, people it gets there, people are like, oh, thank God, my prayers worked, and I'm gonna sell here.
Oh, so basically, you're saying is on the like on the far left of that chart, once that like on the far left of that chart, there those are longs, right? So
Well,
a lot of
they can be long, they can be short, um, but yeah, like I would think, who do you think is hurting in this scenario? So right now I'm only talking about a simple play that you mentioned, which
right.
was shorting into resistance and shorting into the volume. I don't know if you mentioned in the volume, but that's what you should be focusing on.
I
Resistance.
think I think right now longs are hurting.
Yes, after that day, lungs are hurting, right?
Right.
Right. So all of this day they're in pain, and I hate to use this. I'm not religious, but I try to be a semi decent person. So, like quote unquote, they were praying. They're like, I pray this goes higher, because a lot of
Right.
retail traders they have issues with risk management. So if this
Right.
goes above higher, do you think at this point it could go on the Tuesday? See the bottom chart, the Tuesday where it like popped. Could this go to $6, $7 in one shot? It's a
I mean,
very
I feel like there would be some profit taking.
exactly profit taking, or the ones that are begged or that are lost,
Even
break even
like
trading.
yeah, cutting losses.
Yeah, profit taking, and or more than profit taking, the people that were in the loss, they were cutting their loss, etc. So this is what I would.
Especially if it rejects.
Right. So this is this one play that I mentioned here. It's decent. It's you're shorting into resistance, but so
Mm.
one thing that you should enhance on that is short into volume profile. Resistance is not really like sometimes you could have technical resistance, but if there's no volume there, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, short into volume profile. Okay. So that's that. And in terms of the confidence, bro, don't try to do 20, 30 things. Just focus on one play, just one.
I
Don't
see.
tr and
So
a lot of people are gonna go into the realm of like, oh yeah, that a lot of people are gonna go into the uh, mindset of what do you call it? That I'm gonna learn about
Momo,
filings. I'm gonna learn about filings, or if I learn about this, or if I learn about volume forecasting, that I'll become an amazing trader. My game will change, and blah 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 blah. Those are all mindsets that are often, if this happens and this, I'll make this. This is the reason why I'm failing. This is the reason. No, just stick to one thing, perfect it, excel it, and then slowly, gradually move on.
I
So,
see.
okay, go ahead.
In regards to volume profile, I have two questions. One, I've been like recently hearing about this concept of stop hunting. Is that something I should be worried about?
Oh, that's a good question. So, that's a very good question. What
Thank you.
happens is, I don't, it's not, do you know the word fallacy? What that means?
Yeah, like well, I know what a self-fulfilling prophecy is. Not
Fallacy.
in my head I know what fallacy is, but no, go ahead.
Okay. So, it has truth to it, but it doesn't have truth to it. Small cap is manipulated, and
Right.
sometimes what they do is they like an average person, like okay. So if somebody was stuck here, if they were short, they were probably going to cut it over like $3, right?
Mhm.
Like that day. So sometimes what they do is they push it over. They push it above a key level, and then they wash it. Or sometimes they're stuck in liquidity. Does it happen? Yes, but it's much more minor than what everybody, including myself, makes it out to be.
See,
So, so what I mean by that is stop hunting. Does it happen? Yes. Should you not have a stop because of it? Fuck no. In
right,
my
right.
opinion, you should have a stop. So
Of course.
you stop out, and then, oh, it's a stop hunt. Fuck it, just go back in. Just go
Right.
back in down, right? But in a
Okay.
scenario that it comes, so this is the again, I don't mean to say this in a rude way,
Right.
but I've been trading for 12 years, and
Wow.
and this stop hunting method, including myself, to this day it happens, and I think it happens to a lot of beginner traders as well. So one time
Mm.
that you avoid the stop hunting, and you're like, oh, thank fucking God I didn't have my stop there. Fuck this market maker, you know? I got like
Right.
it subconsciously feels good to get that. But that one time or that few times that you get caught, if you're a short seller, I'm genuinely telling you, take this to heart if you're short selling small cap. That one or two loss will blow you up. You will lose all your
Mm.
fucking money. So I'm telling it to you and to myself, and I've been trading for a long time. And I do, and there's metrics to it. Some people take 2/3 hard stop, 2/3 not.
Right.
Even I heard from SMB just like yesterday or Friday, they were saying real traders have stops.
Right.
And I know a cocaine trader, I'm probably not saying it right. I told him, I was like, yo, you I thought you were selling something. You don't know
Right.
who he is. He's from 7 Points. You know who I'm talking about?
No, no, no. I don't really follow this kind of.
Anybody?
No.
Okay. So these are guys that are like hedge funds. Some of them make like 7 figures plus, blah blah blah. They're
Okay.
very reputable traders. So everybody has stops, but in social media, in marketing, in Twitter, people are like, nah, you don't need stops. You have a mental stop. I'm strong enough. Blah 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 blah. In my opinion, you should have a stop,
Yeah.
and
So,
and it's not
but I
worth.
have a, I have
Go ahead.
a, I don't have a hard stop. I have like, what I do is I have a mental stop. If it breaks my key level, I, I cut. But I have again with small size. I have had one time the stock just skips up like 10, 15 cents once it breaks my key level. Maybe I should have a hard stop.
You're lucky it skips 10, 15 cents. I don't know how long. You've been in small caps for 3 weeks, so I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will skip. If your risk is 5 cents, it's moving 5, 6 cents. It'll skip a dollar 25. It'll skip $3 within one
Yeah.
candle. Would you like to see an
That's not
example?
good.
No, this is the truth. So
Uh,
this is what you gotta check this out.
yeah.
Go to WKHS.
All right. Uh, okay.
Okay, look at 12. I personally know a lot of shorts that were adding on here because they were saying it's gonna crack the low of the day, it's gonna go to hell. Um,
All right.
so they were shorting go to 1420s. This is not it, but still.
Yeah,
Um,
I see it.
okay,
Around on the 629 date.
629. I don't know the date. No, 7/7/2/20. Here, I'll send you a screenshot. Okay.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking at it. On 7/2, it was never at 14.
Oh, sorry, did I say 14?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about the time wise. I apologize. So 1425 times, so
Okay.
225. That's what I meant. 2:25
Oh,
p.m.
so,
Eastern stop time.
okay. Oh, are you talking about when it broke that 1775 level?
No, no, no. So on 7/20, 2:25
7,
p.m.
720?
Yeah, the date is 7/20.
That's never
And
happened.
okay, I'll send you a screenshot.
No, no, but what do you mean by 720?
Here. At
Okay,
the
I'll look at
top
the
right hand
screenshot.
side, at the top right hand side, that's the date. 7/2.
That's 7/2, not 720.
Okay, I'll tell you something. I didn't actually sleep properly. I think I told you or somebody. I was
All
with my
right.
family spending time. I barely slept. I'm
No
tired,
problem, no
but
problem.
I promised myself that I would do a few of these
No, no, I appreciate this.
because
No problem.
I'm
I
tired.
see it.
Yeah. So I know some people that were shorting here, but so let's just say easier example. Okay, it goes below VWAP. All the short sells are yo below VWAP. Everybody's hurting. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna short here. Oh, this is a blessing. So let's look at 11 a.m. Okay, 11
Mm,
a.m. below VWAP. People are shorting. If you're lucky, you got a 21, an average something, and then it goes here, goes above VWAP, and then you're like, oh, frick, it went above VWAP. I'm gonna short a bit more, etc. 2160s. If you're lucky, 2140s. If you're patient, and your risk is like 20 cents, right? And within
right.
that one candle, it goes from 2113 to 2160. So you're 10, 15 cents. It goes to a
Oh,
dollar, $10,
wow.
so you lose 10 or something. Now, I'm willing to bet you a lot of people didn't have a hard stop, and and it's and sometimes, and like I told you, I didn't get hurt on this because I don't know what the heck I was doing. I made money on. I don't remember what happened, but my point is I've seen this thousands of times.
Mhm.
And people on Twitter talk about stop hunting, and it does exist, but it's not worth you removing not having a stop. It's not worth it.
Right, I understand. I
And I've
understand.
seen
Okay.
I've seen this candles become $2-3 when your stop on average, when the average movement is like 10, 15, 20 cents. You
Mhm.
have that much risk, and then given I'm assuming you know how to like position size and things like that, right? You
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and then all of a sudden your position sizing risk goes out the window if you have a mental stop. And then and sometimes you know what, you freeze. When you freeze, I've seen this shit go from like I'm talking 10, 15 cent range to 4, 6, 7, $8, and then it becomes a career loss.
Yeah, that's
So
bad.
if you want to listen to that advice, I think it will save you a lot of heartache that you don't have to go through that I went through.
Yeah, no, I will definitely put in a hard stop. I just got to figure out how to make sure that stop will get filled. So I gotta
Stop
experiment and
market.
ask a few guys about
No, just stop market.
the market. Yeah.
Yeah, stop market out. And then you know what? If the guys stop hunting you, just come back in.
Right.
Right?
I mean, would covering on the ask work or wouldn't work?
If it's, are we talking stop limit, cover at ask? What do you
I
mean?
don't know, well, so if I'm short, to cover it, I would need to buy back. So,
Right?
what if starts shooting up? I just buy on the ask to cover.
That's a tough question to answer because I don't know. Like, are you talking a hard stop or are you talking manual stop?
Manual.
I don't know, man. Like, it depends on
Yeah, no, I hear you.
how much volume comes in, what
Yeah,
the
you're right.
spread range is.
So I noticed, and then I have another question after this, but I
Oh,
noticed
I
like,
have a button that's been a game changer. You press it. For me, it's escape,
right,
and
yeah,
that liquidates my position no matter what.
okay. On the
Market's
ask
out.
on the market, what does it do?
Market's out. So if it's a long,
Right,
if it's a short, it's called liquidate. Liquidate position. Liquidate all. Not all positions. The buttons liquidate and just liquidates.
okay. And but I've heard like horror stories about market fills. What really happens like with the market fill? Are you just like, does it get you out?
Have you ever heard of stereotype that all black people are bad and all religious Muslim people are horrible and terrorists?
Yeah,
That's exactly what that market is. Sometimes it's
I see.
beneficial. Sometimes you hear the rumors that people tell you the horror stories because human beings were fucked.
Right.
We reminisce and we think about things that really, like, we remember the horrible bad things, but we don't
Yes,
remember the times, how many times did they mark it out and that saved their butt. But
that's true.
then
That's true.
but then you will remember stories, horror stories that, oh my God, I marketed it out. I had a stop hard order and it hit and the market maker took it back. That piece of shit, blah blah blah. It's not my fault, it's the market maker's fault. Or I
Uh,
marketed it out and it like gave me a horrible, horrible slippage. But then the other 10, 50 times that it worked, we don't tend to talk about that because, human beings, it's not just people, it's just human beings who are messed up. Yeah,
okay. I'm just gonna write something out so I don't forget.
go for it.
Brain dumping. Okay. So then, so like I noticed right before it shot up, it was a shooting star, like on the 5 minute. Like,
What's
what
a
was
shooting?
the
I think I know what a shooting
it's
star is,
just
but educate me.
it's just yeah, so it's the you see those huge green candles that you pointed me to, right? At around 11:15.
Okay, yeah.
Candle right before it's a shooting star. It's generally a bearish candle.
11, yeah.
Yeah, so it basically, so it's interesting. It actually happened right at 11, it seems. It's interesting that they presented a very bearish candle. So I wonder, like, is this being manipulated? Like, what's the
Yeah,
agenda?
it's manipulated. It's manipulated. WKHS is a horribly manipulated stock. It's not a stock that beginners should utilize or use.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know the true
why?
agenda. Why? Somebody's trying to make money. WKH is
See,
too complicated, bro. It's why is it complicated? I'm gonna just quickly summarize. Trump backed it up. Elections happening. Um, the stock had a lot of dilution before. They were gonna buy the plant store. I don't know how long you've followed them. We were shorting the
I've
stock
never.
at around $2, $3, and they had dilutions, but things have changed. Now they're developing uh, vehicles and things like that. It's a very
I see, I
complicated
see.
stock. Yeah, I know you wrote down
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah.
dilution and things. Uh, to be honest, man, if you're learning about small caps, it's good to nibble into it. But like I mentioned, it's good to focus on one thing. Get really good at
Right.
one thing because your brain is going to tell you whenever we're failing, as you know, being trading for a year, and you will
Mm.
get to know a lot more the longer you stay around,
Right.
is our human brain is really fucked up. That whenever we're failing, your brain will be like, man, if I learned dilution, shit would change. If I learned
Right.
how to project volume forecast, my trading would change. But the truth is, a lot of times it's just risk management issues, and a lot of times it's not focusing on one thing. So yeah, it's good that you wrote dilution, and if you're interested, inquire about it. People mention it, blah blah blah. But my
Right.
opinion is, like, excel the crap out of one thing, and then you can add to that. So go ahead.
I see. So you trade on the 5 minute. You think the 1 minute's too much noise, or
Um, I'm gonna give you my very honest opinion on that. It's I am a slow trader, and I think
right?
trading is always about matching your personality with your trading style.
Okay,
So I have
works for
friends
me.
that are on 1 minute, 2 minute, and they're really really good, very successful, very consistent, and they make good money. And I know there's people that hate on scalpers. I don't hate on no fucking person. You can make money, good for you. So 1 minute, 2 minute time frame. If you are if your personalities you go in and out quick and you can like good tape read and things like that, it works. I I have a lot of trouble with 1 minute. My
I
average
see.
hold is about 2 to 3 hours. How do I know that? Because I use a site called TraderView. I upload my
Right, right,
trades
right.
there. I upload my trades there. So my average hold is like 2 to 4 hours and things like that. So
Mm.
being on a 5 minute helps my brain make better informed decision because of I'm not a my weakness is being like quick, right? So
Right, I hear you. Then I see, you drew a wedge. So do you play pure price action patterns, or do you just use that to help you?
no, you see, even after 12 years, I still am learning and growing. Um, one of my friends that makes like 7, 8 figures a year, he barely plays small caps, but when he does, he always draws the wedges and lines, and
Right.
I'm like, bro, come on, man. But
It
so
worked
he
right there.
it worked right there. Yeah, yeah. And in theory, it's always supposed to work. Like when there's a wedge, it either goes up or down. So
Yeah,
I do that just because it's something that I'm kind of like keeping an eye on doing, but it's not
right.
something that I necessarily do often. Because I've been doing it for so long, I have a clear vision. Here, if you want to write this down, this is very useful. I always ask myself, who's hurting? So I was actually long above VWAP. You see that wedge that you drew? Based on
Yes.
my theory, yeah, exactly. Who's hurting? Ask yourself. So what I mean, is it the shorts? Is it the long? So,
On the break of that wedge, it would be the longs that are hurting.
well, that's the thing, right? So I can't.
Yeah.
If there was a way that I could tell you everything and
Right,
that I learned, I would give it to you and anybody else that's struggling because I know trading is hard.
right.
But from my experience, I'll tell you, I fucking hate hindsight stuff. So for me, this was actually a really good long. Generally, this was supposed to be an A plus plus long. And the reason for that is below VWAP, I figured there was a lot of shorts. Yesterday there was a lot of shorts, and now it's above VWAP and it's basing, right? So I had
Uh-huh.
taken a long. I literally had taken a long. I think at like 21.60 or 50, and I think I had taken a long at 21.50s, yeah, something like that. And that was my risk, right? My risk was wrong. I stopped it, cut it, whatever, get the day done.
Yeah, I
So
mean, you're telling me about manipulated. I mean, they yank the price up right when I see a massive bearish candle, and just when you think to go long, when it's basing above VWAP, yank it down, which is very
exactly,
interesting.
yeah. So this is one of the names you gotta learn to know what
Void.
to avoid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So tougher
Yeah.
names, it's easier to avoid.
I see.
So to answer,
Yep.
what was your question? Just so I know that I got it. Did I get your
Um,
question?
yeah, yeah, it was basically, do you play pure price action?
Um, Pure price
Basically, the
action,
wedges and
but
stuff.
I
You
think
you answered it.
okay. But the other thing that I want to add to that to answer your question is I play price action tape, but I'm very big into volume profile. Very big into volume
I
profile.
gotta look
I
into
try to.
that.
Yeah, that's a key. That will be a game changer for you. That and of course risk management.
I know
That
Trend Spider has volume profile built in. I'm assuming there's some think scripts for it.
I think it's just a study. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, okay. See. Okay, so seeing how. Okay. Um, Data tracking. So I'm actually, I collect data for options. I'm in the process of getting a shit ton of data, these small caps, but I'm not tracking the data for a specific setup yet. Is that something that I should be doing? Back testing the setup?
If you're new, yeah,
Yeah.
I am a horrible data tracker, but I have a friend that does exactly what you're doing. He tracks data for the bigger caps, earning plays, and he's the guy like make like 7, 8 figures a year,
Oh,
and he does a lot of things, but that's one of
right.
his better bread and butters.
Okay.
He
Wow.
sees how often the it goes, how often earning in the past 12 whatever data points has gone
Right.
above a certain range, blah blah blah. For small caps, should you track data? Yeah. Do I know how to track data? No, I suck at that.
Right. I mean, so I'm in, am I allowed to like name names and name names here?
Oh yeah, you can name names, talk shit all you want. I don't give a shit. I
No,
don't
no,
give a
no,
damn.
no. No,
Nobody's
I
gonna
just
watch.
don't want you to get.
Oh,
I mean, a
okay.
few people are. I just don't want your YouTube to get in trouble. So I mean, so I'm in the Madaz chat room, and I noticed that like everybody, it's nothing even bad, but I noticed that like all the people like quote unquote five-figure clubbers are all tracking data. So I'm wondering like, and then there's that Chris Verma guy, so I'm wondering, like, is there something powerful about tracking data which I haven't found yet? So I don't know.
Um, I know Chris Mervin. I know Madaz. I have
Yeah.
always liked Madaz. Madaz has been a good guy, an honest guy, way before he had a chat room. He's a very good person.
Mm, okay.
Um, there is merits to tracking data,
Okay.
but there's a bit of a clash between old school and new school.
Hmm.
You know who Tom Kelly is?
I've heard of him.
Yeah,
Hold on, I'm gonna Google
ECNC.
him.
Well, he doesn't like if in the small cap trading community he's well known. He's a fundamental trader.
Okay.
Elkwood and some of the guys that have been trading around for a long time. I don't they don't track data, but I know a lot of the new guys track data. It doesn't hurt. Okay, it doesn't hurt, but in my opinion, it, data changes. So you have to. So
Yeah.
it's like a continuous process, right? So if something works now, you have to be constantly on top of it and change as the data changes.
Let's see.
Uh, but this is one of my weakness, and that's why I fucking love trading because you could trade for as long as you have, and then you still find out, oh, I suck at this. Oh, I need to improve this. But there is merits to data tracking for sure, 100%. There's
Okay.
no doubt about it. But
Okay.
I don't know how to say this in a weird way, but like um, I don't know. Data will change for sure, and often like since I does Madas himself track data? I don't think he
Yes.
does. He does?
But yeah, him, Short Bear. I mean, yeah, no, they all do.
No, Shortbear I know does. Does Madas track?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke to him personally. He said he tracks. Yeah. It's
Okay.
interesting. They track manually, and I have a bit of a technical background, so I'm kind of automating it.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, Madas has been around for a long time, so I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
a lot of the other guys. Shortbear is a good trader as well. He tracks
Yeah.
data, and yeah, it definitely does not hurt. It can benefit you. Just the only thing is that you have to stay on top of it because having traded for a little bit,
All right.
I know things change. And for
Hear you.
people that are just using that one golden thing, they they get stuck and they're like, why isn't it working? And by the time they figure out that the data is affected and things have changed, like they take a really big hit, right?
Mhm. Okay. Last question. Do you have like a few more minutes?
Go for it, bro. No,
All
yeah.
right.
I'm
So,
enjoying this conversation. It's fun.
okay, cool. So, do you really like suggest that I just pick a bias, meaning long or short, and just stick to it with that setup?
Say the question again, just so I
I mean,
understand.
uh, like let's say I'm planning a short and I stop out or something. Should I then go long bias or not chase? Like, you know what I mean? Because like if my short's invalidated, that's probably a pretty good long setup. If it breaks some major resistance or like an all-time high or something.
So I'm gonna give you the raw, blunt truth. And the answer is no, unless you've become, uh, like you've become very successful, profitable, and
Mm,
on it. So it's like
okay.
in your option realm, you have a top
Right.
play, right? It goes out of the range ATR. Um, Sometimes I'm just guessing here. Sometimes you will reposition yourself, or sometimes I don't know, you'll switch, or if it goes out of the money when it's never has, and the first time, like you will do something additional, right?
But yeah, I mean, I'll roll the options. Yeah,
Yeah, you will roll the option into that, but you won't always do that. You will only do it at a certain period of time, right?
that's correct.
Okay, and how do you know that? From experience, correct?
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. So if you've been trading small caps for a week or 2 week, and then you're like, I'm gonna switch bias now.
Uh,
Imagine you do that with your option plays in every single one,
I
right?
wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know what to do. I wouldn't know why I'm switching bias, to be honest. Yeah, I hear you.
So, but you're able to in options, and why are you able
Yes.
to? Because you specialized in
Experience.
it. Yeah, you specialize in it. So I don't think you should do that until you have specialized
Right.
or until you become good at it.
Awesome. I mean, okay. And then like, last thing, so offerings.
I thought last thing was the last thing. I'm just kidding.
This is the last thing.
I'm kidding. No,
So,
no. You can go on. It's okay. I don't think there was like six guys that were supposed to jump on voice,
yeah.
but they're all
Actually,
being
I have to head to the
lazy.
beach after this. So this is my last thing.
Okay. All
So
right.
offering. So when do I know, or when could I anticipate if a company is going to make an offering?
If you knew, you would be like making billions.
It's true.
Actually,
I
no,
mean,
no, no. That I'll take that back. Okay,
I mean,
this is a this no, no, no. That there's ways to know because that's bullshit. I do know there are times that it happens.
if a company's hurting financially,
If a company is low in, there's I'll give you the outside shell.
that's all
So
I need.
if a company is low in cash and their burn rate is high, so that they have like less than a month left or a few days of cash, but if you just use that by itself to short and anticipate in an offering, like again, you will blow up because those are one of the most dangerous ones. Um, because sometimes they
Right.
can have a line of credit. Sometimes they would want a higher close. You think it wants a close here, but it will go higher and higher. It will go 500% higher, 1,000% higher than where you thought. But then you're like, I'm positive the offering is coming. Um,
Right. I mean, this is just another thing that I'm going to add to my data tracking because, I have a pretty useful API that, I'm integrating with, and, they can get all this financial shit. So that
mm,
helps. I'm going to add that to my
that
function.
I think that might make it a bit confusing, but you can add to it, sure. What are you
Yeah.
using? Using Interactive Brokers
No, no,
this
no.
data?
IEX Cloud.
Oh, IX Cloud, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard of that. I'm a horrible tracker. Maybe one day I'll message you about that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll learn.
so one thing I want to incorporate, which is a little bit difficult, is I want to incorporate sentiment because, like, the thing that drives all these things is sentiment. That's a bit more difficult. Anyways, all right. I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. I will definitely keep you posted with my progress and a few takeaways. I'm definitely going to manage my risk. I'm definitely going to set a stop because I really don't want to blow up my account or go on margin.
Here's
I'll definitely do that.
here's another tip before you go.
Yes.
Have a daily max loss. Have
Hmm.
it so that your broker liquidates all your positions once you hit that loss. This would
Okay.
be a game changer if you're getting into short selling. This would this would save you so much fucking pain that I went through. You have
Right.
no idea. This would be
You
your
mean you
biggest
mean like
thing.
call center point and tell them like, look, if I'm down $500, just close my positions.
You don't call them, set it up so it's automatic, so they liquidate. I don't know. Like Trade Zeroes, IB doesn't have it.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, like have it automated. I think they freeze your account. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
yeah, no, I actually heard that Nate McCaw guy does that with Centerpoint. I'm sure that they can do that.
Yeah, if it liquidates it automatically, that would be ideal.
Like if I'm
S
down $500, just pull the plug.
for the day, like right. So
Right, right,
if your
right.
average winner is 250 or 100, like I try to have mine set to like 3 day max loss when I'm being smart, which is supposed to be every day. So if I ever get to my average 3 green days, it's supposed to liquidate all of my positions in that day trading account, and then that's supposed to be it. That way I don't get emotional and
Right.
I don't have big loss days.
Okay, well, I'm absolutely gonna set that up. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Anytime, brother. Have a wonderful day.
All right,
Hopefully
you
this
too.
helped. Good conversations. Thank you for coming on voice.
Sure. Have a nice night.
Take care, brother. Bye. All right, amigos. If you guys enjoyed this and you stayed around for this long, props to you. Hopefully it was helpful. Um, click subscribe. Click the bell notification icon. And if it was helpful and you think this would help somebody else, forward it to them. There's a whole playlist of the traders one on one, and oftentimes everybody has the same issues relatively. So if you want to go through it, you're more than welcome to go through it. If not, have a wonderful day and a weekend. Bye.